And welcome back to the Marketing Re-Education Concentration Camp. And in this video, I want to share with you a bit of a frustration I'm having and how I'm attacking the problem on a strategic and tactical level. So I sell a high-ticket arcade gaming console on cold traffic, and we're at like about 4.4x return on ad spend. But the biggest problem we've been having lately is a crazy amount of cart abandonment. I think our cart abandonment over the last week has been, I think we've only converted like 5 or 6% of people have gone to the cart. Fortunately, it's a high ticket enough item where it overcomes a lot of that stuff. But what I'd like to do, one of the things that you can do if you have a list of cart abandoned emails that people left, excuse me, is you can do this. I sent out an email and I just said, hey, look, I'm not trying to push you to buy this thing. Could you just tell me why you didn't buy it, or what and I think the exact language I put was what prevented you from buying this thing. Now, we didn't get a ton of responses because we don't have a lot of these emails. One guy was Canadian. We don't ship to Canada. But this is one that stuck out to me. Too expensive. This is too expensive. I'm going to get in this one here in a bit. Too much money. Now, why you would go put something in a cart and check out when you already know it's too expensive is kind of weird. But this guy here is interesting. He's a customer of ours. I know because I can, because of this right here. And he says, most of the 23,000 games are crap. It's way overpriced. And I already have the 10,000 game console. And that is, I'm assuming he meant that's plenty for me. Okay. Let's dive into this. Now, if you've watched a lot of these guys on YouTube that talk, like an Alex Hormozy, they'll tell you that the reason why someone doesn't buy is they just don't see the value in your offer, and that's true. I agree with that. Although at the same time, you're also being told to sell high ticket, which I agree with too. But we'll talk about the tactical level on this first. On the tactical level, what you're looking at is this: is someone says to you that your service or your product's too expensive. In my experience, and I've sold over $300 million worth of products online, that's a lot of times a knee-jerk reaction to something else. Because what I do is I do this. When I get on the phone with one of these guys, or if I'm putting a consulting package together, what I'll do is this: is they'll say, oh, I just can't afford that, or that's too expensive. And the first thing I want to know is, okay, do you just believe it's too expensive, or you literally just can't afford financially to pay for it? If they say they can't afford to pay for it, I don't know that there's much you can do, even if you have payment plans and all this other stuff. If someone literally just doesn't have the money, there isn't anything you do. But if they say that it's too expensive, here's what I want you to ask, because I do this myself. Okay, when you say it's too expensive, what are you comparing our thing to? Like, what is too expensive? So, like, I was asked to book a resort hotel room at Disney World at their new Star Wars immersion experience, and for 3 days it was $5,000. Do I have the $5,000? Yeah, I could pay $5,000. I don't have to pay for tickets. We have passes, so it's just food and food in the hotel room. But it was too expensive for me because if I were to spend that amount of money at Disney World, I could stay there for 10 days at a nice hotel, and I'm not going to spend that much time in the hotel. I'm going to be mostly at the parks, right? So when I compare it that way, excuse me, it's just not lining up with something I want. Now, in this case, what if someone says, well, it's way overpriced? Well, he's probably comparing it to his 10,000 game console. So let me tell you about those two products, because I think this will drive it home. The 10,000 game console he bought from us has 10,000 games, has 2 joysticks, and it can play one accessory, which is a wireless gamepad. And that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. There's no customization. You really can't save games. You can't really find games easily. The search function on it's not really great. But it was $250 to $275, where the item we're selling is $1,000. Now, the ones we have 23,000 games, over that actually. It's a full-blown computer. It has the best joysticks, lighted buttons. It has the best front-end software, game management. I'm not pitching you, don't worry. But I'm just showing you the differences. But the thing is that you can use just about any accessory on it. Like if it has a USB, port and it has a USB plug, you can figure it out and make it work. And we train people on how to do it with videos. So he's not comparing a like thing to a like thing. He's comparing. It's like comparing a you know low model Chevrolet to a Ferrari. They're the only similarity is their car, and that's where it ends. That's where it starts and ends, right? Now, what I've done successfully to overcome this objection is I'll do this. I'll say, okay, well, you're comparing this to this. Well, let me tell you what the differences are and how this is actually a better value than what you're currently doing. I have a cocktail table. It has a tilt top screen. I paid $3,500 for it, and it has 4,500 games. I cannot do. It has a trackball, which is cool, but I cannot play anything else on it. I can't really play racing games. I can't play shooting games. It just doesn't work. Okay, we tried, several times. I have a stand-up cabinet. I paid $4,500 for that. It has 4,500 games and the same problem. Okay, like it's the same exact problem. You can get a really cheap cabinet for about $1,800 plus tax and shipping, and it probably and I know ones that play shooting and shooting games and but they don't do racing games, and it's like it has 16,000 games. And so what I start doing is I start taking, okay, well, here's this thing, it does this. 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 Until you get to the point where it's like, look, actually, if you want to make those comparisons and you compare this side by side to what you have and everything else, actually what you're going to find is a way better value. It's actually maybe underpriced. Okay. You're not going to win that objection all the time because getting ideas out of people's head can be very difficult. But if you do a video, like say you're doing, cold traffic like we do, if you lay it out in a video and you show these things side by side by side, it really does drive it home. Like we did this for a handheld and we blew this thing out in less than 24 hours. And I said, look, I paid this much for this, it does this. I paid this much for this, it does this. And then I took the handle and I'm like, you could get this for this and it does all these things. Saves games, da 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 da. And they're like, oh my God, and they just blew it out. We had people trying to buy it after it was done. So the key thing I want you to take away from this is that they're on a tactical level, that's how you can overcome that objection. Start getting them to try to compare it to other things and position your thing as the better value, because odds are it probably is. On a strategic level, and this is how I like to think, is on a strategic level, because I think this is where the bigger gains are had. Alex Hormozi talks about position your highest ticket item, present your highest ticket item first, because it's going to make it sell other items a lot easier. And I can tell you 100% that I've found that to be the case. I found that to be true. So on a strategic level, what we're going, we sell these products on cold traffic. The strategic level, I believe, that will work based on just a test that we ran earlier this month is to give them the option to get the higher ticket thing. And a lot of them want it. And we see lots of buying intent. So even though we have this crazy amount of cart abandonment, we still get a ton of buying intent every day. It's well within our KPIs, way within the cut. But now it has made it probably a lot easier to sell guys like these people, except the Canadian guy. I talked to him, he wants to buy our thing, to get their stuff, okay, get the thing that they want. So here's what you do when you run it. And I guarantee you, if you sell anything that's hundreds or thousands or more of dollars, you're going to run into this problem. This is what you do. Compare it to other things, hit that objection head on, and then have a lower ticket item that you can sell. Because here's the beautiful part about that is you may have days where you get shut out and the selling cycle for a higher ticket item is going to be longer. But if you have a lower ticket item, you can backstop it and you're not getting shut out and you're still getting cash flow. And then when you have the days when you sell the higher ticket thing, you're still probably selling the lower ticket thing too. And it's just icing on the cake. So let me know what you think. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I keep pumping out just super specific, practical advice that I've already tested, so you don't have to. And if you're on LinkedIn, follow me. If you need help with your ads, hit me up. I'm always free to answer questions. I don't charge for that. I just like to share things. It's something my grandfather instilled in me. So with that, I will see you on the next video, and I hope you scale profitably.